Okay, so picture this. It's a Tuesday night. You're lying in bed, phone on your chest, and you've got 7 browser tabs open. One is a Reddit thread about some stock that's supposedly about to explode. Another is a YouTube video of a guy in a Lamborghini telling you he made $40,000 in a single afternoon. Another is a stock screener you don't fully understand, but you're nodding along anyway. And somewhere between tab 4 and tab 6, you realize you've been doing this for 3 hours and you still have absolutely no idea what to actually buy. It was me, for longer than I'd like to admit. And the worst part wasn't the confusion. The worst part was the confidence. Because every time I thought I found the right stock, I felt certain. This is the one. I did the research, I read the reports, watched the videos. I know something the market doesn't know yet. And then the stock would do exactly the opposite of what I expected, every single time. So today, I want to talk about why I stopped trying to pick stocks completely. Not because I gave up, but because I found something that actually works. And once you see the math behind it, I think you'll understand why some of the smartest investors in the world do the exact same thing. My name is Steve. If you've ever lost money or lost sleep trying to pick the right stocks, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, because this one is going to save you a lot of both. It's what most people misunderstand about stock picking. They think it's about being smart. If you just do enough research, read enough reports, follow the right people, you'll be able to identify winning stocks before everyone else does. And that feels logical. That feels like how investing should work. Study hard, make good picks, get rewarded. But here's the problem. You're not competing against other beginners when you pick stocks. You're competing against hedge funds with billion-dollar research budgets. You're competing against algorithms that process thousands of data points per second. You're competing against analysts who do nothing but study single companies for years. And you're trying to beat them from your phone at 11 at night with 7 browser tabs open. The math on stock picking is genuinely brutal. Studies consistently show that around 90% of actively managed funds, run by professional investors with massive teams and resources, fail to beat the overall market over a 10-year period. Not 10%, not 30%, around 90%. And by the way, this isn't about intelligence. Some of the smartest people I know have lost significant money picking stocks, because smart doesn't help when the game itself is designed to be unwinnable for individual investors. Market isn't just one thing you either win or lose against. It's actually made up of thousands of individual companies. And the overall market, meaning all those companies averaged together, has returned roughly 10% per year, historically over long periods. 10%. Consistently, without anyone having to pick a single winning stock. So here's the question that changed everything for me. What if instead of trying to beat the market, I just owned the market? That's it. That's the whole idea behind index fund investing. Instead of picking individual stocks and hoping they go up, you buy a fund that owns a tiny piece of hundreds or thousands of companies at once. When the overall market goes up, your investment goes up. You don't need to pick winners. You don't need to predict anything. You just need to own everything and wait. Let me give you a real example of what this looks like in practice. Let's say you invest $500 per month into a total market index fund. You don't research individual companies. You don't check the news every morning. You don't panic when a single stock drops. You just buy consistently every single month regardless of what the market is doing. At a historical average return of around 8% annually, being conservative, after 25 years, that $500 per month becomes approximately $475,000. You contributed $150,000. The market gave you $325,000 on top of that, from doing absolutely nothing except buying consistently and waiting. The average individual stock picker who actively trades their account underperforms the market by around 1.5% per year, according to multiple studies. But let's do the math. That same $500 per month at 8% becomes $475,000. At 6.5%, after subtracting that 1.5% underperformance, it becomes around $375,000. That's $100,000 less from trying harder. That's the cruel irony of stock picking. The more actively you manage, the worse your results tend to be. Now you might be thinking, Steve, But what about people who do beat the market? What about the guy on Reddit who turned $10,000 into $200,000? And yeah, those people exist. I'm not going to pretend they don't. Here's what you never see. You never see the 100 other people who tried the same strategy and lost everything because they don't make videos about it. They don't post about it on Reddit. The winners are visible. The losers are invisible. And your brain uses the visible winners to convince you that you could be next. Psychologists call this survivorship bias, and it is one of the most powerful psychological traps in investing. You see the success stories. You assume they represent the typical outcome. You don't see the graveyard of failed stock pickers behind them. I had a friend, let's call him Danny. Danny spent 2 years picking stocks. He read everything. He followed every analyst. He had spreadsheets tracking 40 different companies. In year 1, he was up 22% and felt like a genius. In year 2, the market went sideways, and Danny lost 31%. Net result over 2 years. He was down 9% while the overall market was up around 16% over the same period. 25% gap from spending hundreds of hours doing research. He switched to index funds after that and hasn't looked back since. And here's the psychological thing nobody talks about. Stock picking is exhausting in a way that quietly drains you. You're constantly checking prices. You're anxious when the market opens. You feel personally responsible when a stock drops. You feel euphoric when it rises. Your mood becomes tied to numbers you can't control. It's like being in a relationship with someone who is completely unpredictable. Index investing is different. You buy it. You ignore it. You let it work. Your emotional energy goes back to your actual life. So here's exactly what I do instead of picking stocks. 3 simple things. First, I invest consistently every single month on a set date right after payday. Not when I feel confident, not when the market looks good. Every month automatically. This is called dollar cost averaging, and it means I buy more shares when prices are low and fewer when prices are high, automatically, without having to think about it. Second, I put everything into a total market index fund, or an S&P 500 index fund. These funds own hundreds or thousands of companies at once. They have extremely low fees, sometimes as low as 0.03% annually, compared to actively managed funds that often charge 1% or more. That fee difference alone adds up to tens of thousands of dollars over 20 years. Third, I don't watch it. Seriously. I check my investment account maybe once a quarter, not once a day, not once a week, once a quarter. Because the research is very clear. The more often you check your investments, the more likely you are to make emotional decisions that hurt your long-term returns. That's it. 3 things. Invest consistently. Own the whole market. Stop watching it. No stock screeners. No earnings reports. No Reddit threads at 11 at night. Just a simple system that works while you sleep. And here's the harsh truth. Most people won't do this. Not because it's complicated. It's genuinely one of the simplest things you can do with money, but because it feels boring. It doesn't feel like investing. It doesn't give you a story to tell at dinner. Nobody gets excited saying, I bought the total market index fund again this month. But 25 years from now, when your account has $475,000 in it, you're going to be very grateful you chose boring over exciting. Because here's what I've learned. In investing, exciting usually means expensive, and boring usually means wealthy. If this video made you think differently about stock picking, hit subscribe. And I'm curious, have you ever tried to pick stocks? What happened? Drop it in the comments because I read every single one, and the honest answers might surprise you.